Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Don't mind the light show. It changes. So, uh, here we go. Let's continue on history of the world here. Last week we did Genesis chapter 24. Uh, Abraham sends a servant to get Isaac a wife, make sure it's from a good bloodline, not from the Canaanites who are more godless. So he wants to make sure it's the right wife for him. They find Rebecca, she comes back, and let's see, Isaac loves her, and they get married, and so we're off to a good start. We're going from Abraham, now Isaac, his son, who he had a covenant with God. So that was last week, and Abraham's still alive, so let's jump into that kind of end of his life here. Genesis 25. Abraham had taken another wife whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimron, Yokshesh, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, Shekur, Jokshan, was the father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were the Asherites, the Tushites, and the Lemites. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanak, Abediah, Eldah. All these were descendants of Keturah. So he marries someone else after Sarah dies, not uncommon. She has kids, they have kids, and but he's kind of getting towards the end of his life, and he is trying to put his house in order. So Abraham left everything he owned to Isaac, but while he was still living, he gave gifts to the sons of the concubines and sent them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east. Abraham lived 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last breath and died at a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite, the field Abraham had bought from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who then lived near Bir Laharoi. So remember we had talked about when Sarah died, he went in and they tried to gift him the field because he was just so good to people. And he ended up buying it, and it was a field with kind of a cave backdrop against it. And so essentially he was establishing his family cemetery, and that they could, the relatives of Abraham could be buried there. So he's buried next to Sarah. Cool part also, Ishmael comes back. So there's this constant not quarreling, but these two brothers were never meant to get along. Isaac is like the golden child here. He's the one that was the son of Sarah. And Ishmael was, the rushed into Hagar because they used the servant. So he's kind of like the, redheaded step brother, half brother kind of a thing. But they both come back and they get along enough to bury their father. And that's really cool. And we could only hope that as parents too, that no matter what, if there's at worst, they can get along for the family stuff, especially coming into the holidays, right? So Ishmael's sons, this is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Sarah's slave Hagar the Egyptian bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael listed in order of their birth. Nebaioth, the firstborn of Ishmael, Kedar, Abdil, Misma, Duma. So it goes through his sons. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are the names of the 12 tribal rulers according to their settlements and camps. Ishmael lived 137 years. He breathed his last and died, and he was gathered to his people. His descendants settled in the area from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt, as you go toward Asher, and they live in hostility toward all tribes related to them. Still kind of happening, right? Middle East, God had already said that Ishmael is going to be the wild as a donkey, and so are his descendants, and then all his descendants now have tribes, and they all fight and quarrel. But it also shows that God still loved Ishmael so much that he listed his bloodlines here in the Bible. So it was still meant to be. It was still meant to happen. Ishmael was still meant to happen, and it was still meant to be written in the Bible. So we'll keep going. Jacob and Esau. So this is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Isaac. So we just did Ishmael's They're kind of on the Egyptian border. They have their own tribes, and they're constantly fighting with each other. That's Abraham's that son. Now, Isaac's son, the one that there was a covenant about with Sarah. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean from Padan Aram, and sister of Laban, the Aramean. So that was last week. Remember, marries Rebekah. He's 40. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." So remember, normally the oldest is kind of in charge. They get double the inheritance. They're favored upon. So she's saying that the older is going to serve the younger. Or that's what the Lord is telling Rebekah when she is wondering why there's this constant quarreling inside of her womb. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau, after his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. So in Hebrew, the word Jacob comes from Yaakov, which is like, what does it say here? It's like the heel, the foot. The verb could be follow the heel. So essentially, like, they're twins. Esau comes out, and so does Jacob, holding onto his heel. So it's like they were born at the same time, but Esau is first. But firstborn's still a big deal at this time. Let's see. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, the oldest, a man of open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Maybe that has something to do with the Lord saying that the second one's going to be favored, the leader. You know, she has that spiritual encounter with the Lord. But Esau, he's just a man of the woods, a man's man, and Isaac loves him. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." That's why he was also called Edom. So he's asking for stew. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." "Look, I'm about to die," Esau said. So he's starving. He's like, "What good is a birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear it to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate and drank and then got up and left. So Esau despised his birthright. Like I said, there were twins. So Esau, who was just a wild man of the woods, right? And so the birthright, let's see, what does it say here? The birthright included several privileges. One, recognition as the oldest son. Two, a double portion of the inheritance upon the father's death. And three, regard as the leader of the family. The birthright could be given or sold, but the older son would then lose the latter two aspects of the birthright. Esau's choice showed how little he valued these spiritual blessings. So this is true too. Esau would just rather be out hunting in the woods. He doesn't give a crap about the inheritance, the name, the stature, the social, whatever. And to him, so he comes in from hunting. It's cold. He's starving. And he's like, "Jacob, give me some of that soup, man. You're making a big old pot of stew." And Jacob's like, give me your birthright first. And he's like, "Dude, we're twins. We're pretty much born at the same time. Have it. I don't care. Give me the stew." So he gets it. But that just shows he didn't take the birthright into high regard of like his last name or what his father expected of him or to be the leader of the family. He just liked being out in the woods. And then at the same time, it shows how, kind of witty Jacob is. He could find people when they're at their weakest and get something out of them. So very clever on Jacob's part and very stubborn, let's say, on Esau's part. But that's the end of 25. So Abraham is now, he's dead and gone, buried next to Sarah. And then Isaac has 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. And we are going to continue rolling this thing out. So get to you guys next week, if not the next couple days. Love you. Be safe out there. Merry Christmas. And talk soon. Love you.